So in the setting up of this theater and library, is it all come from within the community, or have there been external forces like NGOs, activists, etc.?
It is within the community, but it didn't just happen overnight. Actually, what had happened was Roxy's father. For any kind of change, it seems it takes about 3 generations. And Roxy's father was very educated, and he was a lawyer, and he had actually started a something called, sort of Chara Improvement Society kind of thing, and they had a library, and they had done theater, and this is like way before when Roxy induction might have been like really small children, and so this sort of memory was already sort of existing in the current generation. And so what had happened was, actually Mahashweta Devi and Dr. Ganesh Devi and Lakshman Gaikwad, who's actually written an amazing biography called Uchalya, which is like really worth reading. They had gone to Charnagar, and they just sort of showed up there one day, and they asked the kids, like, what would you want? If there's anything we could do for you, what would that be? And they basically raised their hand. They said, we'd like a library. And that so impressed, especially Mahashweta being a person of literature. She was so impressed, she took out money from her retirement fund and gave them some money to start a library. And that's how things began in sort of 1998. So yeah, it was sort of within the community, but it was also this sort of great meeting of energies.
So just a small one first. There was something about a secret language at some point.
Yeah.
I'm just curious what that.
Oh yeah, they sort of have a Nargat. It's called Narsi Parsi, and this is the if they don't want you to sort of understand what they're sort of saying, or if the police is around and they don't want the police to kind of particularly understand anything, they'll sort of use that. So it's kind of a yeah, and it's I think a lot of like marginalized communities actually have their own argot. So
I see.
Yeah, that's Narsi Parsi.
Okay. And the other question is, I'm kind of curious about the police reaction to the film, if there was any that you know of, or whether other types of reactions to the film in that region.
We actually haven't had a chance to show it to the police. I'd love to show it to a police audience if I can, but haven't managed so far. And usually reactions have been very positive, but every once in a while you show it in a community, middle-class people, and 1 or 2 people get really, really mad because they're like, yes, but they are thieves. They are bootlegging. So they get really angry about that. So,
Ma'am, what was that book where their historical parades was given? Means they were finding out where their roots are, basically. Was that a Gujarat Gazetteer?
You know what that is? It's actually the census Gazetteer. Yeah, it's the Gazetteer census of Bhavnagar state. And you know what those pictures are? They are actually the pictures that the colonial government took of when they were captured. These are forensic photos. These are actually forensic photos which they use as a family album because because the old man can't read English. And not only that, that picture of him of his father, who looks very impressive. He's got the big turban and these amazing facial hair. And there's a painting in his house which has a. So he's taken that. He's taken the figure of his father, who's like in handcuffs actually, and he had him painted with his uncle on these horses, as in a very heroic pose. So he sort of transformed these like prison photos into a family album and into sort of images of reverence. So yeah, that's what those pictures are.
There is a book written by Girish Prabhune called Pardhi. This type of nomadic tribes exist in Maharashtra all over.
Yes.
So Girish Prabhune was a Rashtriya Swayamsevak, that is Sangh, kya bolte Swayamsevak. So he went there and he wrote that book. He spent some time there. And there also I found the same references. At that time Maharana Pratap and Akbar had that war, and at that time so many people went to the forest and they lived along with there, and then this community came as a nomadic tribes. So apart from that, I don't find any historical references to these tribes.
Yeah, and it's not even certain that, because actually the charas are actually sort of sassy, because we searched and searched and searched as to where one could find references, and the first reference we found, it goes back to the 30s, in the from the criminal tribes department, who sort of suddenly there are these mentions of the chara menace and so on, and so our sort of sense is, just from our research, because this is oral history, this is like the story they tell, and it may very well be true. We don't know that there may be remnants of like old armies and so on. And the most sort of likely explanation is that they're definitely Sasi, because they all sort of share the same language right across from like Punjab to UP, Gujarat, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, yeah, everywhere. Like, so they're all Dhatu speakers, right? And what it is like, sort of, it seems like the community might have, to sort of escape discrimination, they will often say like, oh, no, we are not those guys. We are these other people who are called Chara. We are not really Sasi. And, just to, so, the kind of a community on the run kind of keeps sort of changing its identity. And that is probably part of what happened to them. And that's why they're Chara and not called Sasi.
Is a mix of documentary, fiction, short film, everything. We started last week. We've been screening MIF award-winning film. We started last week with Ali Kazemi's Continuous Journey. Next week is a feature film, Kaphal by Batul Mukhtiar, made for Children's Film Society of India, which won the main award at the Hyderabad Children's Film Festival recently. So all of this will keep coming up in our schedules. So please spread the word, and we look forward to seeing you.